Hey guys, welcome to Vinyl Siding. We have been away a while. Want to welcome Bill back, my co-host, and kind of doing things a little bit different now, man. I decided to change things up instead of doing just straight out album reviews. We're going to do a couple comparison contrast type things between different bands tonight. We got Alice Cooper versus Ozzy Osbourne. And what's great with this is we have two guys that are in the same band, but they also pair off. One does an Alice Cooper tribute and one does an Ozzy tribute. So, but they're both in the band The Land of Oz that are playing at the Landis Theater this coming Saturday night. Make sure you get your tickets. You can log on to thelandistheater.com to get that. But it is my pleasure to welcome Kevin Mercer and Steve Desko. Let me unmute your mics, guys. There we go. How's everybody?
Awesome.
So, what I usually like to do is I usually like to let Bill do a little lead into the albums, kind of history project type deal, and see where we're going. So, Bill, could you give us a little lead in for this?
Okay, I'll try and make it
quick
here. I'll try and make it quick because we're going to be talking about two different albums that both have a fair amount of history behind them. They're two interesting albums in a way because there are some commonalities between them that are at least interesting to me because the albums are made 10 years apart by artists that had different career arcs before they made the albums. Start off by talking a little bit about Alice Cooper's album, Killer. Killer was Alice's fourth album. In some ways, it can be considered as his breakthrough album. Alice had made two albums under the auspices of Frank Zappa, Pretty's for You and Easy Action, that didn't really do a whole lot in the marketplace. Zappa sold his contract to Warner Brothers Records, where Alice linked up with Jack Richardson and most particularly with Bob Ezrin to make the third album, Love It to Death, which had an unexpected hit single come out of it, I'm 18, that looks like we're having a little trouble with Kevin here.
Yeah. Steve, you can hear us, right?
Yes.
All right. So Kevin's having a hard time with the audio on his end. Can you check your computer speaker? Or
are you muted? Does it say mute on it? And it says Kevin.
No, he's unmuted. Maybe we'll try and unmute him again. Kev, do you hear us? Man, weird.
Luckily, he's a bass player and no one cares.
Oh, God almighty. We don't get any respect.
Oh, man.
That's a good right there. Oh, he can hear though, right?
He said he can't hear, so I don't think he
can't hear.
Yes. So you can abuse them all you want. He can't hear you right now.
Kevin,
I don't care if he can hear me. We've been advanced for years.
I've been sending him text messages. Check your phone.
You can text message me, and I'll read it as Kevin.
So I don't know what the issue is.
Wait,
Kevin just
could we hear
off.
it at the beginning at all ever, or we just saw it?
Kevin, can you hear us now?
Can you hear us now?
Man, good thing we're just recording this.
That's okay. I know, man. We have. I mean,
look at this. You only want to start recording it again.
Yeah, I think I might. Kevin, is it?
You want to log out, log back in?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I might restart.
A whole deal. I don't care if I got log. My shit seems to work. My laptop's pretty sharp right now.
I'm trying to talk to Kevin right now.
Okay.
He said he can't hear shit. I'm asking him to log off and log back on. All right, let's see if that works. If that works, I'll restart everything.
Including the whole intro all over again? Okay.
Yeah, I got to cut that intro back. It's a little long.
Oh, I don't care.
But
Well, we have the new logo, CT, so we probably should recut the audio to go with that too.
Yeah, I agree. I just didn't have time to do it before. All right, so
let's see if we get Kevin back. Oh. Oi.
All right, let's see if we got him back. Kevin, you with us?
I can hear.
Yeah! All right.
Can hear them.
You know what? Just to keep the annoying going, we're just going to forge ahead. Sorry, Bill. Can you restart where you were going with this intro?
Let me take it from the top because I don't know if you're going to edit this or what, but probably best just to start it from the top. And there are actually a couple of things that I forgot to mention. So we'll do this over again. We have two different albums here that are interesting to me because they have a lot of things in common, despite the fact that they were made 10 years apart. We'll start with Alice Cooper's album, Killer. Killer was Alice's fourth album, the fourth album by the original Alice Cooper band, featuring Glenn Buxton on lead guitar, Michael Bruce on rhythm guitars, Dennis Dunaway on bass, Neil Smith on drums. It was the fourth album. In some ways, it might be considered the breakthrough album. The Alice Cooper band had made two albums back in 1969 and 1970 under the auspices of Frank Zappa on his Straight Records label. First one in 69 was Prettiest for You. Easy Action followed that in 1970. The albums didn't really do very much in the marketplace, although Alice did have a couple of interesting opportunities to get some publicity over the course of that time. Probably the most notable was at the Toronto Rock and Roll Revival in late 1969, where Alice appeared on the same bill as John Lennon and the Plastic Ono Band. CT, I know you're a huge Alice fan. Kevin, Stephen, you guys probably know about this also. This was the infamous chicken incident.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Anyways, those two albums didn't do terribly well. Frank Zappa and his manager, who owned Straight Records, ended up selling Alice's contract to Warner Brothers Records, who distributed the label. And they decided to pick up stakes. They moved from Los Angeles back to Detroit and tried to find people in the Midwest that they could work with to make their third album. They ended up landing with Jack Richardson and with most particularly Bob Ezrin at Nimbus 9. Jack Richardson in particular had a great reputation working with the Guess Who. He wasn't immediately interested in working with Alice, but Bob Ezrin developed a rapport with the band and worked with them on their third album, Love It to Death. Love It to Death was something of a sleeper hit. It had one decent-sized hit single coming out of it with I'm 18, and in particular, it saw the band starting to really come together as songwriters. Michael Bruce, in particular, became a really solid songwriter with help, from Alice and from Dennis, particularly. That led to Killer, which was recorded in the first half of 1971 and came out, I think, in November of 71, which is a solid record, I think, from beginning to end. I don't know if I would say it's his strongest album. I'm sure people who are big fans of the band would argue that Billion Dollar Babies is probably number one and Killer behind it. But nevertheless, it is a really, really solid record, I think. That's got everything that I think the Alice Cooper band was very, very good at in one solid package. By comparison, Diary of a Madman was an album by an established artist, Ozzy Osbourne, who had sort of gone off the deep end. By 1978, Ozzy had been thrown out of Black Sabbath and was trying to figure out what his next move was. There are stories that have circulated that indicate that he might have been looking to commit suicide by drugs over that period of time. He did have the good fortune of connecting with Sharon Arden, his manager's or ex-manager's daughter, who became a solid manager in her own right, and against her father Don Arden's wishes, began working with Ozzy to rebuild his image and ultimately to rebuild the band. They found a great rhythm section to work with in Bob Daisley and Lee Kerslake, who had a lot of experience, both of them with other bands across England back in the 70s. But probably most notably, they hooked up with Randy Rhoads, one of the founders of the band Quiet Riot, who at that time hadn't yet broken through, but Ozzy heard something very significant in Randy's sound and very quickly latched onto him and made his first album, Blizzard of Oz, with those three musicians in late 1980. Diary of a Madman is the second album. There are some people, I think, who would say that the first album, Blizzard, is a stronger album in terms of the songs and the quality of the songs, but Diary is a polished record, and it really puts Randy Rhoads center stage as far as what he's capable of doing with the gothic and classical guitar style that he brought to the table. So with that, let me give the floor to you guys if we can talk a little bit about both of these records and where they sit, what we all think of them.
Well, first off, I want to ask you guys, Stephen and Kevin, playing the Landis Theater this Saturday, tickets still available at $20. You can't friggin' beat it. And I'm telling you, one of the true to life Ozzy tributes out there. Steve just does an incredible job. But why did you guys choose this album?
Because it's their best one.
I had a chance to play 2 nights in a row at a casino at Harrah's in Philly with Livewire, AC/DC tribute. Really good. Before they got their really good Brian Johnson guy they have now, Francis. Anyway, so to differentiate the shows, first night we did Blizzard, second night we did Diary. And from doing that, Blizzard's awesome. However, as a piece, all the radio shit's crammed in the front end. Then it goes B-side Johnny on the side too. And then people start to take a leak. So now I'm doing Diary, but I'm doing the first 4 songs in set 1, doing a couple songs and then doing the next 4 songs in set 2. Because I got some buffet people who might not like to sit down at the Randy Rhoads plate for the whole time. So just to keep it a little fresh, I am splitting it, but it's a balanced album and I can play it straight through and it's not going to be like, in a row. It breaks up more conducively to live action. So that's why we picked that one.
So with that being said, as far as your personal taste, Steve, as far as your favorite Ozzy albums, where does this album rank for you?
Diary's my favorite one out of all the Ozzy, for sure.
Number 1.
Hey, I see Kevin saying the same thing.
Then Blizzard, and then
1 and 2 are pretty much tied for me, but I might give the slight edge to Diary just because it's got more cool tunes on it.
Live wise, there's just movers. You got the Sato, you got just Can't Kill Rock and Roll, or Believer. It's ridiculous. We play most of the songs anyway. It's not like we have to really go too far to play an entire Diary album. Maybe really 2 or 3 songs we have to pick up. It's like, we do the songs all the time.
Well, we know them all anyway, so why not?
We got the best Randy. Matt Stanley's the best Randy in the country. He's also the best Eddie in his Van Halen Nation, too. The kid's a beast. And he's in Mach 22 now.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I want to say is I've been watching Matt for a while now, ever since before he was, man, how old is he now? 22?
24.
24,
15,
yeah, man.
15 when I started with this. Kevin's been on board for 2 or 3 years?
About 2 years now.
2, yeah. He's getting on a good ship.
The kid's grown up right before our very eyes. Remember when he
Yes.
used to look like Justin Bieber, Steve?
Yeah. I was 213 pounds, and we had Justin Bieber. It was, and all those videos come out in promos half the time. But it was cool. The kid, he used to be a prodigy. I was joking with him. Now you're just another dude. But he's he's been excellent for a very long time. Very high standard. Good kid. Awesome. Great to work with.
Now, does his father still play with you guys as well?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, father and son duo in the band as well.
And sometimes we even get his other son to sit in on a song or two here and there. His son plays drums, and he's really good. So we usually let him sit in for Mr. Crowley. So it's pretty much the lane of Stanley when we get to Mr. Crowley.
Wow.
that will be at the Landis, Jersey homegrown homecoming. Get your tickets.
You guys have played all over the country. And from doing this intro, the one thing that I can say that kind of supports the Landis, it's the only one that you can stand outside of and smoke weed legally.
Yes. Instead of going out back.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can go out front. But allegedly, I heard you're supposed to do it in your house, kind of.
Yeah, it's actually not legal to do that, but I don't think they really enforce it.
I would never do anything like that.
No, not yet. Yeah. So, Kevin, I got to ask you as well, and I'll ask Steve, going to the other album, the Alice Cooper album, Killer. Any thoughts on that album? Are you guys now, Steve? I know Kevin has got to be an Alice fan because he's from Zillion Dollar Babies. Steve, as far as you're concerned, are you an Alice fan?
I saw Alice Cooper when I was like 14 or 15 at the Tower Theater when he had that bodybuilder dude on the card.
He's back with him.
Kane Roberts.
Kip
back, by the way.
Kip Winger was playing bass with short hair. Still had that awful smile. But
he's actually back in the band now.
Yeah, he is. He just came back.
Winger's back in the band?
No, not Winger, but the muscle dude, Kane
Sanders.
Is he still ripped up? Or did he get big boned?
He's still big. He's still built.
He was amazingly fast for a big man. It was a great show. I think he cut his own head off. I think he stabbed the photographer with a sword. It was freaking awesome. It was the bomb. He's fantastic live. I love the older songs. It was great. I saw him when I was 15, so I don't know how many years ago that was, but
he still is.
13 years
I
ago.
See him every time he comes around.
39 years ago I saw him, but I'm sure he's still good, right?
Dude, Kevin will attest to this, man. Alice is still on the top of his game, still incredible live. I seen Ozzy. Oh, Kevin's out of volume again.
Kevin!
You're going to have to log back off.
Log off. Log off.
So, anyway.
We'll get him back.
The Killer album is incredible. Some of the best songs. What do you think, Bill? I mean, for me, Under My Wheels and Be My Lover are two of my favorite Alice Cooper songs.
It's a solid 1-2 punch right out of the gate. Those two songs are ridiculous. I mean, two hit singles, basically, one right after the other. And then just to continue on that vein, you have those two songs, and then what do they follow it with? A progressive rock masterpiece, Halo of Flies. Wow.
Are you good, Kevin?
Kevin.
Oh, hold on. His Sorry, Kev. I got to unmute your mic.
I stopped for a second and it came back on, and then I couldn't hear anything, so I just had to log out and log back in again. Anyway,
proceed, Mr. Bill.
I missed what you said. Halo of Flies.
Friggin' Halo of Flies is awesome.
When I was
to recap it, Kevin, we were saying that the album opens with two great songs out of the gate, Under My Wheels and Be My Lover, two singles basically, and then you follow it up with an 8.5-minute prog rock masterpiece.
Under My Wheels is my all-time favorite Alice Cooper song. Even up above School's Out. I just love it. We used to open with it just about every show. It's by far my favorite song. It's classic that stands the test of time.
Yep.
Now, for me, School's Out kind of ranks right there with Iron Man from Sabbath. I can't hear either one like that many more times because like they're so overplayed. School's Out and Iron Man are both so overplayed on either side that it's like there's so much other good material.
Yeah, Iron Man is really we rotated in and out. It's not in every set. We do have to like throw it in once in a while. The kids like it because of the movies. But as far as back to the Cobra, that song Killer is freaking ridiculous. The last song, that's my favorite one on that record. I know that's strange, but it's got that groove, that Lou Reed kind of groove to it.
Dude, like
that's what I like.
Alice had a little bit of a weird thing through different albums coming after this. But there's two songs that stood out to me, and I wanted to see what you guys all thought. So it was Dead Babies on the Alice album, and then for Ozzy on Diary of a Madman, it was Little Dolls that I kind of compared that to.
Mm-hmm.
And wanted to see what you guys thought, either side of that.
Dead Babies is a great song. It's definitely got like a creepy vibe to it. It's a very misunderstood song because unless you really listen to the lyrics, it sounds like Alice is into dead babies or he's into killing babies, and that's not the case. That's not what the song is about.
Not at all.
Kevin got banned from a bar for a dead baby.
Dead Babies.
Did you really?
Is a song that got us banned from clubs when we used to play it. I had this little baby doll on a noose, and some people took exception to that. I mean, little plastic baby doll. It's a plastic baby doll. It's a theatrical show. I'm not Alice. I'm just doing an Alice-like move, and it got us banned.
What venue was that, Kevin? Could you tell us what venue?
That'd be Time Out.
Time Out. Look, if you guys want to see a version of Kevin doing that song with the plastic baby doll, there is a copy of it on the Rock and Roll Union YouTube show from back probably 3 years ago in Bar 13. But yeah, there's a video of him doing it with the dead plastic doll and like. But comparing that to Little Doll, or am I?
Little Dolls is about, I think, models on heroin. That's how I take it. And it's freaking awesome. And it's got all sorts of cool backup vocals we do. We have everyone gangbanging that song on vocals. It's freaking beautiful. We are going to run it tomorrow in rehearsal. It's just to get the vocals tight because it has got some moving parts in it. But it's freaking... I love that record. That's one of my favorite songs to play. It's challenging. It's got some cool notes. It's very strange.
You know, looking over the lyrics earlier tonight, I kind of got it like a serial killer kind of vibe from it. I mean, it's October. That could be the problem. But, Bill, what do you think? Like, is it proper to compare those two songs?
I don't know that it really is, because we are talking about, in Little Dolls, girls that are older as opposed to dead babies. You know, Little Betty really is a child. I mean, she's crawling around and finds the aspirin on the counter.
Man, so I mean, I only compared the two because they both kind of had that equal vibe in the music. Kind of like, to me, those were two of the like most off-putting songs on either album.
There is the creepy factor with both of them. That's true.
Definitely.
So, the other songs that I wanted to talk about that really, as far as the Ozzy side is concerned, and I've always voiced that I'm more an Alice fan than an Ozzy fan, but I still love Ozzy, is Believer. That is one of the best songs to me. Like, I love that song. How is that for you, Steve, singing that?
It's fantastic, and Mike uses a vocoder with some of the I know part. It's we go creepy with it. It's a little stompy. It's great. We play that a lot. I mean, it's not in every set, but it's in probably 80% of the shows we'll put Believer in. Sometimes it gets cut for time because you got to put more radio stuff in, certain stuff.
Yeah.
But it's in. We have time for it. It's a ball. Uh-oh.
Looks like Kevin's going to have to log back on. But, Bill, what are your thoughts on Believer?
It is a great tune. It's a very, it's a tune that encapsulates that version of Ozzy is Bad between, some of the classical side and the hard rock side in one package. It's a really, really great tune in that regard. And it's really one that I think a lot of people who aren't hardcore fans don't really know, and it's a shame. I mean, most of the people who are familiar with Ozzy from radio, when it comes to Diary, they know Flying High Again and Over the Mountain and not much else. And that's
Yeah. I mean, there was just the one thing that I had talked to Bill about, and I wanted your take on this, Steve. We talked about this earlier in the week, and this being Randy Rhoads' last album. And one thing that I feel is that perhaps the legacy of Randy Rhoads kind of outlived the man Randy Rhoads. And I wanted to get your take on that. I think he was still very young at that part of the game. He was still you good, Kevin? Kevin's audio is funky, man.
But and again, I'm listening.
But with do you think that the legacy of Randy Rhoads kind of outlived Randy Rhoads' ability? I mean, we talk about him like he's a god, but he was still so young that maybe if he'd have lived a little bit longer, his legacy would have been more. His music ability might have been even better than what it was.
You'll wonder if he would go okay. It's gonna be a little racy of a story, but Chuck Berry, he was the shit, and then he just kind of never did shit. Then got busted for peeking on chicks at his club, and shit, and never progressed into anything else. It just was, and then you're or George Thorogood, they never really went anywhere. It's very linear with their
right
develop and get better. They just kind of got stuck there, and here you are. That's them, So it sounded like he was ramping up. He's learning classical music. He wanted to do some stuff. You know what I mean? He wanted to study. I think he wanted to get a degree in classical music or go back and study that shit. So he's probably going to do all sorts of stuff. Didn't have any drug problems, alcohol problems. He was going to be a star and do some good shit, I believe.
Yeah, I mean,
he was headed some better stuff.
What do you think, Bill?
I agree with Steve on this wholeheartedly. I mean, from everything I've read, Randy probably wouldn't have stayed in Ozzy's band very much longer as it was. I think he had a plan of staying for at least the 2 albums, maybe for a third. There apparently was some discussion about doing a live album of Black Sabbath tributes, which they actually did do after Randy's death with Speak of the Devil. But Randy, I don't think really was into going that route. I think he wanted to.
I can't hear nothing.
I can hear. We can hear you.
We can hear you.
I can't hear nothing.
Oh man.
You got a headset?
I got nothing.
You got headphones?
Man, what a show! What a first show back.
Usually it's me that's happening to. But it's cool. We'll bounce in and out.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But I mean,
it's happened to me too. I've been the one that has been floating in and out in the past as well. So unfortunately, we'll find a way to deal. But as I was just saying, I think Randy probably would have gravitated out of the Ozzy band sooner or later had he unfortunately not. He met a very, very tragic end, and I think in some regards we do remember him a lot for that. But I do think that had Randy not died in the way he did, he would have followed his own drum, so to speak, and might very well have found his way back to Ozzy. But I think he would have done a lot on his own before he did.
Oh yeah, And I mean, the one thing that I want to say about Ozzy is, and this is, can you hear Kevin?
Kevin, we can hear you.
I quit.
He quits. All right. Anyway, we're gonna keep this more Ozzy centric then. But
we can talk, Alice. We'll talk about
the one thing that Ozzy has done throughout his entire career, and this is testament especially on the new album, is he's always found these amazing guitarists that he's always centered himself around. He's never had a mediocre guitar player, whether it be Zakk Wylde, Randy Rhoads. He had a slew of them on the new album. Like every track, there was somebody guesting on something. So, what do you think the legacy of Ozzy is with these guitar players? Do you think all these guitar players are just kind of like dying to get in there?
Definitely. He's definitely an icon. If you want to definitely, I mean, I think Ozzy had a.
We got you back on. Look. Kevin's here.
Hi, Kevin.
Where's he at? Can you hear the screen better?
Oh, wow.
All right, we're gonna do this.
Alright, sorry man, I don't know what the hell's going on with this.
Eric,
You guys
We got you. Can you hear him?
we can hear him.
here, I can see something. I think I can see
Can you see? Okay, man. There we go.
Ozzy has Alice in the palm of his hand.
I'm just a dude hanging out with my friend here.
Can you hear us, Kevin?
yes I can.
So we're talking about the legacy of Randy Rhoads and whether or not the legacy is bigger than maybe the guy was.
In my opinion, Randy Rhoads is probably the second greatest guitar player in the history of rock.
Who would number one be?
That'd be Edward Van Halen.
Or in my case, Richie Blackmore.
Yeah. Hey, you know, I got to say, and it's funny that Matt Stanley, who is in Land of Oz, is also in a Van Halen tribute band. Or was he? Am I wrong? I'm thinking.
No, you're
No,
correct.
I'm right.
Because he's that good.
So, yeah, Matt is incredible. The one thing I got to tell Bill, who has yet to get a chance, an opportunity to come out and see you guys, their guitar player, Matt Stanley, is incredible. Like Steve said, he's only 24, but he's been playing with them since he was 15. He's just an incredible talent. And unfortunately, in America, that talent takes you so far where maybe did Matt ever think about playing overseas?
Not if we can keep him.
Yeah.
We treat him like Elvis, that Colonel guy wouldn't let him travel and do other stuff. No, I listen, if that kid can get any work anywhere, man, we support our boy. So whatever it takes. We just have him as long as we can. Doesn't he look like he's in Superman movie? Anyway, General Zod, what's up, bro? But I don't know if the grass is greener over there. You know what I mean? I don't know. He certainly always has a gig. He fills in for live people sometimes. He's fantastic. You know what I mean? So.
What do you think, Bill? Any questions or ideas between the two albums?
Oh,
I know you have a million of them.
well, one thing I always tend to gravitate towards looking at these albums, with the wisdom of hindsight, because both these albums are 40 plus years old.
Right.
Is how they're structured and how they flow from one song to the other. In the case of Killer, as I said earlier, it almost is a perfect flow where you're going from the hits into the long prog rock epic, then from that to Desperado, again, a short single-like song, You Drive Me Nervous. Yeah, follows that, with the great three guitar pieces, because Rick Derringer is on that one along with Michael and with Glenn.
That's right.
And then we talked a bit before about Dead Babies and Killer. In the case of Diary, we start that one with two songs that have become radio classics as well, Over the Mountain and Flying High Again. But then from there we go into some of the really gothic, majestic work where Randy just takes center stage and just kills from one song to the next.
One of the songs on Diary of a Madman that I was a little curious about, and Steven mentioned it when we first got on, was Sato. And like, there's a million different ideas on what the acronym stands for. Some think that it is for his wife, some are Sail Across the Ocean. Steve, what do you think Sato stands for?
I think allegedly it's the initials of his wives, Sharon and whatever. And
Thelma.
What was it?
Thelma's her name.
Oh yeah,
Thelma.
like Scooby Doo. But yeah, and then but when I'm live and I'm doing my Ozzyisms, I'll go sail across the ocean because it's funny. So I mean, I use that live, but I know it's probably means the other thing. But it's all about sailing across the fucking ocean, really.
Yeah, it's a pirate song. I mean, if we kind of compare the two albums again, you can go from Sato to Desperado, where one's a pirate and the other one is a sheriff, or Desperado just a wanted man. I mean, they both kind of had that vibe going too. Am I right?
Well, Desperado I always thought was an outlaw. Desperado I thought was written about Jim Morrison.
Yeah, it was. It really was. It was written about Jim Morrison, but it also has that kind of old school, like desert sheriff or Desperado kind of feel to it, with your six guns and.
Yeah,
Richards, really.
Yep. I read somewhere, and I don't know how much truth there is to that, but apparently some of the inspiration for Desperado came from the movie The Magnificent Seven also. In The Magnificent Seven, there's a character that Robert Vaughn plays where he's a crack shot, but he's a dandy, and he doesn't like to shoot at people.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, I'm not condemning.
Well, one time in the movie that he actually tries to shoot at one of the desperados that are against him, he gets shot and killed himself. So he goes down as a hero.
That's cool.
Kevin, any thoughts on Desperado?
Kevin?
Come again? I didn't catch that.
Any thoughts on Desperado?
I think it's one of the better songs on the album. I would have to say it's probably, third or fourth best song on the album. I mean, it made it to greatest hits, so it can't be that bad. I actually heard that on the greatest hits album before I heard Killer itself. So, and it does have that Western vibe to it. It's just a different kind of an Alice song.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other song that I wanted to talk about on Diary of a Madman, of course, was the title track. This probably will be the last song that we get into. But Diary of a Madman, any thoughts on that one, Phil?
My personal favorite to play live.
Kevin's personal favorite.
Epic tune.
What do you think, Steve?
Play it live, not even Ozzy.
Oh, go ahead, Bill.
Bill, any thoughts on Diary of a Madman, the song?
Again, yeah, it's a great, majestic piece. It's one that's very well constructed. I mean, one of the things about Diary in general that works for me is that it's just a very clean and tight-sounding record. When you compare it against Blizzard, as an example, it's the same band, and it's the same production staff in the same studio. But Blizzard has more of a raw sound to it, where Diary really sounds like it's very, very polished. They went in wanting to make a really solid album that would play on radio and play very well. And what's interesting about it to me is it was made quickly. I think they finished Diary in all of about 3 weeks.
Wow.
Diary. I've been doing Ozzy for like a long time at this point. I don't know, 15 years or so, whatever. Maybe 17 years of doing Ozzy, but you could never do those juicy keyboard ones without Mike Viv. You know, like the guy's freaking. He's awesome. He's like he's a beast, like live. You know what I mean? He's a pain in my ass, but I love the guy.
Kevin's
I get an ankle bracelet. He'll be out back at the casinos, flying his drone above a man-made lake while we're needing him for sound check. But you know, that's Viv. It's all good,
man. So as far as from here, and I talked to you, Steve, before we started recording, was what's next for Land of Oz? You guys have a couple dates. This is the last one for Jersey, so everybody in South Jersey, this is the one to get out to. This is the one to come see.
It's like 50 minutes from Media, where I live, about 50 minutes from Philly. It's 50 minutes from everywhere. It's 50 minutes from AC. It's close to about everything. There's free, well-lit parking. It's a nice, safe little town. I mean, if I worked for the Chamber of Commerce, I would say, Vineland, it's not as bad as you've heard. But it's really, I do many shows there, and I have a nice car, and I've never had a problem with anybody there. It's a cool little place. You know what I mean?
That's a great venue.
We also have the Spyglass Ridge Winery with an Alice Cooper band. Hey,
nice, and it's not Kevin.
It's not Kevin. It's the Kings of Rock, and I think they're Elvis impersonating Alice Cooper. But no, I'm kidding. They're doing Alice Cooper, and we're going to be doing a Ozzy Osbourne show on October 15th. So join us in Pennsylvania. It's kind of near Penn State, Sunbury, Shamokin Dam, Selinsgrove. It's over in that area. Knoebels over in that neck of the woods. It's fantastic. Spyglass Ridge. That's October 15th. October 7th, we have Ultimate Live Evil at Tom and Jerry's. And then we have Just Sabbath on November 11th, Tom and Jerry's. And then November 18th, Ultimate Live Evil and Just Sabbath at Mickey's Black Box in Lititz, PA. A deal opening up for Black Sabbath. That's Kevin and myself joining up for a show, and I'm double dipping.
Nice.
So we have that stuff going on. Uh-oh.
It looks like, now we lost Bill. Here's Bill.
We got Kevin.
Man, this has been a heck of a show. There he is.
Here we go.
Bill's on the bottom now.
Yeah, now you're up top. You're moving on up.
Zoom next time.
I'm replacing Bill because I'm over here now.
So,
Zod.
but, the one thing that I got to say about the Landis is if you guys get there early, they do have KCs upstairs. You got to kind of go to the back of the building and up. They got a great menu. Drinks are affordable. Great way to kind of pregame this. Yeah. And seeing Land of Oz kicking off October, man. This is Halloween time. This is the best time to see this. The fall, the weather's getting great, and I'm really excited to see you guys do this show.
Us too.
It's like you got it.
The lighting up, Kev. Kevin's getting all the glory. Look how good he looks.
It's like a shrunken head.
I don't know that anybody can even see me. I can't see anybody else but the side of
Yeah, we can see you and we can hear you. But Kev, my last question for you. Are you as far as Landis is concerned, how excited are you to be back?
Come on, man. It's in our backyard, man. I have so many friends. I mean, we play so far away, 4, 5, 6 hours away. And you know, we always post on Facebook that we're playing in these big crowds, and we never get to play for our friends. So this is in our backyard, so all our friends will be there. So, I mean, I'm super excited. Not only that, but it's our full production show, and you don't get that everywhere. I mean, we've got the big rear video screen going. We got all the special effects going. We got a few surprises, like Steve's intro last time. If anybody caught that, he'll probably be doing that again. But Atlantis is the only place we'll do that. I'm not going to spoil it for you. You'll have to just see it to believe it. But it's very cool. I promise you that. So if you really want the full show for Land of Oz, Atlantis Theater is the place to go. See it.
Man, can't wait. Steve still has tickets available. And I'll tell you what, my sister-in-law, I'm bringing my sister-in-law, my brother passed last year, so I've kind of been bringing her around to like music venues. Because my brother, I got the music off of my older brother. So I kind of been bringing her out to shows and stuff. And she said, are they good? I said, they're as good as Ozzy as you would want them to be. They're better than Ozzy is now. There's nothing like supporting Steve from standing up behind him on the stage. Man, that what did you think of that, Steve? The kickoff to the NFL season, Ozzy's doing like his thing, but he's got a stand supporting him in the back from falling over.
He just had some neck surgery and he's Parkinson's and he's old as hell. And I heard they hatched him up through the floor. God bless him, you know what I mean? I saw him right before COVID, and besides being tuned, I don't know, 4 steps down, Kevin, if that's possible, it was tuned a little low. It was a fun show. He could still put it out. He's good, man. He's an older fella, you know what I mean? But as far as being on TV for 7 seconds, it was kind of like ridiculous to have a commercial for having Ozzy there because he was there for 7 seconds more than I was. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and they've since. Have you seen any of this, Bill?
I haven't, no, and I've wanted to go back and see it because I heard the reviews when it happened saying, you know, Ozzy's on for 10 seconds. Like, what? You're kidding? Doesn't make sense.
There has been videos put out since of, I think, 2 of the songs that he performed there, like full length. But yeah, the network only gave him about 10 seconds.
And
So,
it was pretty, I mean, from what I heard, I'm not like, I don't know everything, but it sounded pretty tracked, like they were just doing lip sync.
yeah, I think he was. I think he was lip syncing. My problem with Ozzy going out there now is he's got so many health issues. Like, is it worth it to keep going out there and risking your health even further? I think the guy's done enough that he can kind of like, or is it that much in his blood that he has to do this?
I'm sure he probably would have retired back in the No More Tours days, but Sharon keeps pushing him and sending him back out there. I guarantee you that's why he's out there, because he needs the money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember back in the 90s, he retired, and then he went a year and a half later, he went out to the retirement sucks store.
Yeah.
I saw his retirement tour at the Tower. It was a long time ago. It's almost like Weekend at Bernie's sometimes, but
Yeah, it is. You know, if we're comparing the 2 artists, that's the one thing I got to say is positive on the Alice Cooper side. Is to me, it feels like as he's gotten older, he's gotten better. If you look back at some of the old videos from the 70s, Alice could barely stand. Now he seems to know what his capabilities are, and he really puts on one hell of a show.
Alice is at the top of his game right now, and still is. So every time I've seen him on every tour in the last few years, he's just been incredible. I can't say enough about going to see him live. He's just amazing.
Yeah,
it's the #1 album in every country in the world right now. That's good. Patient number 9.
You know, I got to say for patient number 9 is it is one of the albums that has been at the top of Billboard, which is great for a rock album because we've been out of the limelight. Rock's been out of the limelight for so long, but to see the attention given to Ozzy has been really good.
That's
Well,
really
back to the guitar players, I think, as we were talking before. I mean, I think that's part of the attraction. Nothing to take away from Ozzy, of course, but playing with that array of talent from going from one song to the next.
I mean, yeah, the musicians he has on this album are incredible.
definitely.
But say that again, Kev.
I said he's got like everybody on this album, doesn't he?
Yeah,
Yep. Clapton, Beck. I mean, good Lord.
Yeah.
You should have got Jimmy Page. You would have had all the Yardbirds guys.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
The training camp for guitar player legends.
I think Jimmy Page is the only one that didn't respond to his request.
Oh wow.
Did ask him.
Yes, that would have been cool to have all the Yardbirds on there.
That would have been cool. But last question for you guys, and then we're going to wrap this up. How do people go about finding Land of Oz, getting tickets, looking at tour dates, that kind of stuff?
Go to our Facebook or our Land of Oz group or any of our personal pages. You will find circus-type promotions everywhere, including animals and other stuff.
And that's Land of Oz with 2 Z's, right?
Yes.
You could probably get the information at the next funeral too, because Steve will probably be there promoting the gig at the next funeral.
I saw that meme. That was hilarious.
I've been getting killed by that for years. It's great. I would never do that.
I think everybody knows about the show.
Bill, what we're talking about is there was a meme that somebody put together of Steven standing graveside at a funeral, and the pastor asked if anyone has anything to say, and it has Steven saying, my band has a gig this weekend.
Oh, boy.
I would never do that.
I'm laughing because there are times that I've been guilty of that, too.
I did have a fan die. I'm not trying to bring the room down, but and I went to the wake and they had like a stuff like advertisements for my band on the coffin with flower shit. So it was like people really get moved by this stuff, and I didn't do the promotion there, but it was sitting there. It was pretty an honor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Jason Jervenko, I think his last name was. Big dude. He's like 6 foot, 7 foot tall. I got pictures next to him. I look like a baby, but yeah. So my advertisement's been on a coffin, but it wasn't me. The family. I swear to God.
But guys, it has been great catching up. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys on Saturday night. I'll be there. Really looking forward to it. At this point, I'll probably be sitting on the aisle because I haven't picked up my tickets yet. But we'll be doing so before I get there. That's for sure.
Hey, Matt Stanley is on the right-hand side, and it's pretty opened up over there for now. So if you want to get on the Matt Stanley side, if you want the Kevin Mercer side, that's left. General Zod is in the fan zone.
Oh, my God almighty.
Well, great talking to you guys.
Take care, guys.
We'll be in touch. See you Saturday.
Take care. Thank you.
Take care, guys.
All right, guys. So that was Land of Oz. That was a very, very unique and crazy way to get back into the swing of things, Bill.
You're going to have an interesting time editing all this.
Yeah, I mean, I might just not edit it and throw it out there. Say, let it hit the wall, man, and see what happens. But, yeah, I mean, we're going to be reviewing Ozzy and Alice all month. Hopefully we can finagle some audio for Kevin. Kevin will be back with us next week, as will Steven. Looking to do maybe something more modern from the two. I know both Patient Number 9 came out, and Alice had Detroit Stories come out last year. So that might be a good view at looking at things. Although I got to say, with Ozzy, he's been a lot more My problem with the Patient Number 9 album is it feels like it's too polished, like too put together, if that makes any sense. It feels like it's overproduced.
I haven't heard it beginning to end yet, but it wouldn't surprise me. I don't know if you recall, because it's a number of years ago, but I think it's back in 1994 or 5. Paul Rogers, who, of course, was in Bad Company, The Firm, so forth, he made an album called Muddy Water Blues. It's a tribute to Muddy Waters. And he used very much the same approach as Ozzy used on Patient Number 9, where it was basically a different guitar player on every song, where he used Jeff Beck, Slash, Brian Setzer. I think there were like 9 or 10 guitar players across the album. And because of that approach, it was very varied and it was very interesting, but it was very, very polished. And there was no way that he could perform it live.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing that I've noticed with Ozzy lately is he has been using auto-tune in some of his songs. I mean, he is getting older. Like I said, and Kevin hit it right on the head for me. I didn't want to be the one to say it. I really feel it has a lot to do with Sharon. I think Ozzy has earned his retirement and needs to take care of his health, be around his family, and he's already accomplished so much that he doesn't need to worry about leaving his mark.
The man's 73 years old. Let him have some time to rest.
That's it. Absolutely. So, Bill, thank you so much for being with me again tonight, and really looking forward to next week. Hopefully it's not as crazy.
Oh, roll with the punches. That's all I can say.
That's
you and I
it.
have had a few of these where the show has not exactly gone smoothly, but we find a way to get it done.
That's it. That's it. Bill, have a great rest of your week, brother.
All right. Take good care, Chris.
You too. All right, guys, that's it. Have a great rest of your week.